Hello students, welcome to Crack NEET Biology. இந்த வீடியோல May 3rd நடந்த NEET 2026 எக்ஸாமோட கொஸ்டின் பேப்பர் டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ண போறோம். ஸ்பெசிபிக்கலி கிளாஸ் 12 பயாலஜில இருந்து கேட்டிருந்த கொஸ்டின்ஸ் சாப்டர் வைஸ் டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ண போறோம். ஓகே, சோ இதே மாதிரி கிளாஸ் 11 பயாலஜில இருந்து கேட்டிருந்த கொஸ்டின்ஸும் உங்களுக்கு வீடியோ வேணும்னா கமெண்ட்ல போஸ்ட் பண்ணுங்க. நான் செப்பரேட் வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு போஸ்ட் பண்றேன். ஓகே, சோ கிளாஸ் 12 பயாலஜியை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் உங்களுக்கு மேக்ஸிமம் நம்பர் ஆஃப் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் சாப்டர் 4 பிரின்சிபல்ஸ் ஆஃப் இன்ஹெரிட்டன்ஸ் அண்ட் வேரியேஷன்ல இருந்து கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. டோட்டலி 7 கொஸ்டின்ஸ் சாப்டர் 4ல இருந்து கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. தென் சாப்டர் 9 biotechnology principles and processes, and chapter 5 molecular basis of inheritance, and chapter 13 biodiversity and conservation. So இந்த மூணு சாப்டர்ல இருந்து உங்களுக்கு 5 கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. மத்த சாப்டர்ஸ்ல இருந்து 2 to 3 கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. ஓகே, சோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சாப்டர் 1 செக்ஷுவல் ரீப்ரொடக்ஷன் இன் ஃபிளவரிங் பிளான்ட்ஸ்ல இருந்து கேட்டிருந்த கொஸ்டின்ஸ் பார்க்கலாம். சோ இந்த சாப்டர்ல இருந்து 3 கொஸ்டின்ஸ் டோட்டலி கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின் இஸ் which one of the following types of pollination brings genetically different types of pollen grains to the stigma? So option 4 xenogamy is the correct answer. Then second question, arrange the following in the correct developmental sequence related to microsporogenesis. So first sporogenous tissue, then pollen mother cells, then microspore tetrads, then pollen grains. So option 4 B, D, A, C is the correct answer. Then third question, which one of the following is triploid cell? So primary endosperm cell is the triploid cell. Option 3. So chapter 2 human reproduction la irundha totally 3 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. First question is match list 1 with list 2 related to embryonic development at various months of pregnancy. So A, the fetus movement starts and hair appears on the head at 20 weeks of pregnancy. A, 2. Then the fetus develops limbs and digits at 8 weeks of pregnancy. B, 3. Then the fetus develops external genital organs at 12 weeks of pregnancy. C, 4. Then the fetus body is covered with fine hair, eyelids separate, and eyelashes are formed during 24 weeks of pregnancy. D, 1. So option 3, A2, B3, C4, D1 is the correct answer. Then spermatogenesis undergo a series of cell divisions to produce sperms. Select the correct statements from the following. So statement A, spermatogonia always undergo meiotic cell division னு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. This is wrong. மைட்டாசிஸும் நடக்கும். So statement A wrong. Statement B, the primary spermatocytes divide mitotically to produce secondary spermatocytes னு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. This is also wrong. So primary spermatocytes first meiotic division undergo பண்ணி secondary spermatocytes form ஆகும். So statement B wrong. Statement C, secondary spermatocytes through their second meiotic division produce haploid spermatids. This statement is correct. Then spermatids produce spermatozoa through mitosis னு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. This is wrong. Spermatids transform into spermatozoa by spermiogenesis process தான். So statement D wrong, whereas statement E correct. So option 1 C and E only is the correct answer. Then third question, arrange the following cell layers or structures around the female gamete from outer to inner side னு கேட்டிருக்காங்க. So outerல first cells of corona radiata இருக்கும். C, then zona pellucida layer இருக்கும். A, then perimetallin space இருக்கும். B, then plasma membrane of ovum. So outer to inner side இந்த orderல தான் இருக்கும். So option 2 C, A, B, D is the correct answer. Then chapter 3 reproductive health ல இருந்து 2 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. First question is choose the correct statement regarding gift to overcome infertility. So giftன்றது gamete intrafallopian transfer. இப்போ ஒரு womanனால healthy ovum produce பண்ண முடியல, but she can provide the suitable environment for fertilization and development அப்படின்னா இந்த procedure பண்ணுவாங்க. So donor woman இருந்து collect பண்ண ovum another female ஓட fallopian tube க்கு transfer பண்ணுவாங்க. அதான் gamete intrafallopian transfer. So option 3, it is the transfer of an ovum collected from a donor into the fallopian tube of another female who cannot produce ovum but can provide suitable environment for fertilization and development. So option 3 is the correct answer. Then second question, match list 1 with list 2. Progestasert, hormone releasing IUD. A3. So LFG20 னு கொடுத்திருந்தாலும் it's a hormone releasing IUD. Okay. Then multi-load 375, copper releasing IUD. B4. Then diaphragm, barrier made of rubber used by females. C1. Then Saheli, oral contraceptive. D2. So option 3, A3, B4, C1, D2 is the correct answer. Then Chapter 4 Principles of Inheritance and Variationல இருந்து உங்களுக்கு டோட்டலி 7 கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின் மேட்ச் லிஸ்ட் 1 வித் லிஸ்ட் 2. இன்கம்ப்ளீட் டாமினன்ஸ் இன்ஹெரிட்டன்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஃப்ளவர் கலர் இன் ஆன்டிரைனம் ஸ்பீஷிஸ். A 2. கோடாமினன்ஸ் ABO blood groups. B 4. Pleiotropy phenylketonuria disease in humans. C 3. Polygenic inheritance ன்றது human skin color. D 1. So option 1, A2, B4, C3, D1 is the correct answer. Then second question, which of the following statements are true with reference to the sex determination in honeybees? அப்படின்னு கேட்டிருக்காங்க. Statement A, an offspring formed from the union of a sperm and an egg develops as a female, that is queen or worker. This is correct. So female diploid இருக்கும், sperm and egg ஓட unionல form ஆகுறது தான் female. So statement A correct. Statement B, an unfertilized egg develops as a male by parthenogenesis. So statement B also correct. Statement C, a male has half the number of chromosomes than that of female. This is also correct. So male ல வந்து 16 chromosomes தான் இருக்கும், whereas female ல 32 chromosomes இருக்கும். So statement C correct. Statement D, males produce sperms by meiosis னு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. This is wrong. Males produce sperms by mitosis தான் correct. So statement D wrong. Statement E, honeybees have a haplodiploid sex determination system. This is correct. So option 1, A, B, C and E only is the correct answer. Then which one of the following disorders is caused by the substitution of glutamic acid by valine at the 6th position of beta globin chain of the hemoglobin molecules? So sickle cell anemia. Option 3 is the correct answer. Then in which animal do haploid cells divide mitotically to produce gametes? So இப்ப பார்த்ததான் male honeybeesல தான் haploid cells divide mitotically to produce gametes. So male honeybee வந்து இத ஃபாலோ பண்ணும். Option 2. Then fifth question, what is the probability of having children with O blood group where both mother and father are heterozygous for A and B blood group respectively? Parent ஓட genotypes ஃபாதர் ஹெட்ரோசைகஸ் ஏன்னு கொடுத்துட்டாங்க, ஸோ IAI. மதர் ஹெட்ரோசைகஸ் பின்னு கொடுத்துட்டாங்க, ஸோ IBI. இப்ப நம்ம கேமெட்ஸ் கிராஸ் பண்ணோம்னா we will get AB blood group இருக்க children, then IA blood group இருக்க children, then B blood group இருக்க children, then O blood group இருக்க children. So the probability of having children with O blood group is 25%. So option 4 is the correct answer. Then sixth question, the sixth mutant codon of beta globin gene causing polymerization of hemoglobin and change in RBC shape is GUG. So GAG இருக்கிற codon, it will get mutated to GUG in sickle cell anemia. So option 2 is the correct answer. Then in a population of a grasshopper species, the chromosome number of some members is 23 and some other members possess 24 chromosomes. So the 23 and 24 chromosomes bearing members in this species are males and females respectively. Option 3. So grasshopper species XO type of sex determination follow பண்ணும். So malesல ஒரு X chromosomes தான் இருக்கும், whereas femalesல pair of X chromosomes இருக்கும். So option 3 is the correct answer. Then chapter 5 molecular basis of inheritance ல இருந்து totally 5 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. So first question is, which of the following statements are correct with reference to a transcription unit? Statement A, a transcription unit in DNA is defined primarily by 3 regions: promoter, structural gene and terminator. So statement A correct. Statement B, the promoter is said to be located towards the 5' end of the structural gene. This is also correct. Then the promoter is the DNA sequence that provides binding site for RNA polymerase. Statement C also correct. Statement D, the promoter defines the template and coding strands. Statement D is also correct. And statement E, the terminator is located towards the 3' end of the coding strand and it defines the end of process of transcription. So statement E also correct. So given statements எல்லாமே correct. So option 2, A, B, C, D and E is the correct answer. Then which of the following is the site for active ribosomal RNA synthesis? So option 4, nucleolus is the site for active ribosomal RNA synthesis. Option 4. Then arrange the following steps of DNA fingerprinting in a correct sequence. So first, isolation of DNA and its digestion by restriction endonuclease, A varum. Then separation of DNA fragments by electrophoresis. E. Then transferring the separated DNA fragments to synthetic membrane. 3. Then hybridization using a labeled VNTR probe, that is variable number of tandem repeats probe. This is 4. Then detection of hybridized DNA fragments by autoradiography. This one. So option 2, A, E, C, B, D is the correct answer. Then in the lacoperon, the Z gene codes for beta galactosidase, option 4. So இதுவே A gene கேட்டிருந்தாங்கன்னா transacetylase, Y gene கேட்டிருந்தாங்கன்னா permease. Okay. So Z gene codes for beta galactosidase. Then which of the following statements are correct with reference to packing of DNA helix? Statement A. Histones are organized to form a unit of 8 molecules called histone octamer. Statement A correct. Statement B. Histones are negatively charged basic protein. This is wrong. Histones are set of positively charged basic proteins. Correct. So statement B wrong. Statement C. Histones are rich in the basic amino acid residues lysine and arginine. Statement C correct. Statement D. The positively charged DNA is wrapped around the histone octamer to form nucleosome. This is wrong. DNA is negatively charged. So statement D wrong. Statement E. The packing of chromatin at higher levels requires an additional set of proteins called the non-histone chromosomal proteins. So statement E correct. So option 3, A, C and E only is the correct answer. Then chapter 6 evolution la irundhu 2 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. First question is match list 1 with list 2 with respect to chronology of evolution of life forms. So about 65 million years ago, the dinosaurs suddenly disappeared from Earth. A2. Then about 500 million years ago, invertebrates were formed and became active. B4. Then about 350 million years ago, jawless fish probably evolved. C1. Then about 320 million years ago, seaweeds and few plants probably existed. So option 1, A2, B4, C1, D3 is the correct answer. Okay. Then second question, which of the following is not an example of convergent evolution? So given options la parunga, 4 limbs of whales and bats. This divergent evolution oda example. Whereas mathad ellame convergent evolution oda example. So option 3 da, it is not an example of convergent evolution. Then chapter 7, human health and disease la irundhu totally 2 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. First question is, the following are the stages of life cycle of Plasmodium. Arrange the steps in the proper order னு கேட்டிருக்காங்க. So first, female mosquito injects sporozoites into human beings during bite. So இது first. Then sporozoites reach the liver through the blood. Second, then the parasites reproduce asexually in liver cells, bursting the cells and releasing into blood. Third step. Then the parasites reproduce asexually in RBCs, bursting the cells, is the fourth step. Then gametocytes develop in RBCs, fifth step. So given options la, option 1, E, D, B, A, C is the correct answer. Then second question, match list 1 with list 2. So nicotine stimulates adrenal gland to release catecholamines into blood circulation. A2. Then morphine, effective sedative and painkiller. B3. Then heroin, a depressant, slows down body function. C4. Then cocaine causes some of euphoria and increased energy. D1. So option 1, A2, B3, C4, D1 is the correct answer. Then chapter 8, microbes and human welfare la irundhu 2 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. First question is match list 1 with list 2. So streptokinase, removal of clots from the blood vessels. So streptokinase clot buster னு சொல்லுவோம். A2. Then statins, blood cholesterol lowering agent. B3. Lipases, detergent formulations. C4. Then cyclosporin, immunosuppressive agent. D1. So option 3, A2, B3, C4, D1 is the correct answer. Then what is the reason behind production of large holes in Swiss cheese? So the production of large amount of CO2 by Propionibacterium shermani is the correct answer. Option 4. Then chapter 9 biotechnology principles and processes la irundhu 5 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. First question is, which of the following statements are not true regarding restriction endonucleases? So statement A, they are called molecular scissors, correct. Statement B, these are the enzymes responsible for restricting the growth of bacteriophages in E. coli. This is also correct. Then they cut the DNA only at the center of the palindromic sites னு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. This is wrong. They cut the DNA little away from the center ன்றதுதான் correct. So statement C wrong. Then they remove nucleotides only from the ends of DNA fragments. So statement D wronger. So in the statement it describes exonuclease, not endonuclease. Then statement E, they recognize specific palindromic base pair sequences. This is correct. So given options la option 4, C and D only is the correct answer. Then identify the correct sequence of steps in each cycle of polymerase chain reaction. So PCR la first denaturation, then annealing, then extension. Option 4. Then insertion of a foreign DNA at BAM-H1 site in an E. coli cloning vector PBR322 results in the loss of antibiotic resistance towards tetracycline. So BAM-H1 site வந்து tetracycline resistance gene இருக்கிற இடத்துல இருக்கும். So அந்த இடத்துல நம்ம கட் பண்ணி foreign gene insert பண்ணோம் அப்படின்னா it results in the loss of the antibiotic resistance towards tetracycline. Okay. Then fourth question, which of the following statements are correct with respect to DNA separation, isolation and visualization கேட்டிருக்காங்க. So statement A, the cutting of DNA is done by molecular scissors. This is correct. Statement B, the DNA fragments separate according to their size in an agarose gel upon electrophoresis. So statement B also correct. Statement C, the separated DNA fragments can be seen without staining when exposed to UV light னு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. This is wrong. So ETBR ல stain பண்ணி நம்ம UV lightல பார்க்கும்போது நமக்கு bright orange colored bands கிடைக்கும். So statement C is wrong. Statement D, the separated DNA fragments when stained with etherium bromide can be seen in visible light னு கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. This is wrong. UV lightல வந்து நம்ம பார்க்கும்போது தான் நமக்கு bright orange colored bands கிடைக்கும். Statement D wrong. So choose the correct answers from the option given below. So option 3, A and B only is the correct answer. Then match list 1 with list 2. Genetically modified organism, BT cotton. A, 2. Thermostable DNA polymerase, Thermus aquaticus. B, 3. Then TA plasmid, Agrobacterium tumefaciens. C, 1. PBR 322, Escherichia coli. D, 4. So option 1, A2, B3, C1, D4 is the correct answer. Then chapter 10 biotechnology and its applications ல இருந்து 3 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. First question is, arrange the following steps of somatic hybridization in a correct sequence. So first, isolation of single cells from 2 different varieties of plants, then isolation of cell walls, then digestion of naked protoplasts, then fusion of protoplasts to get hybrid protoplasts, then growing of hybrid protoplasts to form a new plant. So option 4, D, A, B, C, E is the correct answer. Then second question, the toxin proteins isolated from Bacillus thuringiensis coded by which of the following genes would control cotton bollworms and corn borer respectively. So cotton bollworm control பண்ற genes CRY1AC and CRY2AB, whereas corn borer control பண்ற genes CRY1AB. So given options la பாத்தீங்கன்னா option A CRY1AC and CRY1AB is the correct answer. Then the human protein named alpha-1 antitrypsin obtained from transgenic animals is used for the treatment of emphysema. Option B. Then chapter 11 organisms and populations ல இருந்து totally 3 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. First question is, which of the following equations depicts Verhulst pearl logistic population growth? So dn by dt is equal to rn into k minus n by k. Option 2 is the correct answer. So இதுல r ன்றது intrinsic rate of natural increase, n ன்றது population density, k ன்றது carrying capacity. Okay. Then second question, choose the correct statements regarding population interactions between 2 species. So statement A, in both parasitism and commensalism, only one species benefits and the other species is harmed. This is wrong. Parasitism க்கு தான் இது செட் ஆகும். Commensalism க்கு ஒரு species benefited, இன்னொரு species unaffected. So statement A wrong. Statement B, both species benefit in mutualism. This is correct. Statement C, both species benefit in commensalism. This statement is wrong. So commensalismல ஒரு species benefit ஆகும், இன்னொரு species it is unaffected. So statement C wrong. Statement D, in parasitism only one species benefits and the other species is harmed. D correct. E, in amensalism one species is harmed and the other is unaffected. This is also correct. So option 2, B, D and E only is the correct answer. Then third question, which one of the following is an appropriate example of sexual deceit? So option 3, Ophrys and Bumblebee is the correct answer. Then chapter 12 ecosystem la irundhu 3 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. First question, ecological pyramids represent the relationship between the organisms at different trophic levels and they are generally inverted for pyramid of biomass in C. Option 2. So pyramid of biomass in C க்கு தான் எப்பவுமே inverted pyramid ஆ இருக்கும். Okay. Then match list 1 with list 2. Decomposition, breaking down of complex organic matter into inorganic substance. A 3. Then detritus, dead remains of plants and animals including fecal matter. B 4. Then mineralization, release of inorganic nutrients by the activity of microbes in soil. C 2. Humification, accumulation of dark colored amorphous colloidal substance. D 1. So option 4, A3, B4, C2, D1 is the correct answer. Then match list 1 with list 2. So productivity the rate of biomass production. A3. Net primary productivity the gross primary productivity minus respiration losses. B1. Gross primary productivity the rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis. C4. Then secondary productivity the rate of formation of new organic matter by consumers. D2. So option 1, A3, B1, C4, D2 is the correct answer. Then chapter 13 biodiversity and conservation la irundhu totally 5 questions கேட்டிருந்தாங்க. First question, which of the following statements are correct? So statement A, the Amazon rainforest being cut and cleared for cultivation of soybeans is an example of habitat loss. So statement A correct. Statement B, Stella's sea cow and passenger pigeon became extinct due to over-exploitation by humans. This is also correct. Then statement C, the Nile perch introduced into Lake Victoria in East Africa helped in population growth of cichlid fish in the lake. This is wrong. So this led to the extinction of cichlid fish in the lake. Correct. So statement C wrong. Statement D, water hyacinth is an invasive species. This is correct. Statement E, when a species becomes extinct, the plants and animal species associated with it are not affected. This is wrong because they are affected and correct. So given options la correct statements A, B and D only is the correct answer. Then second question, exploring molecular, genetic and species level diversity for products of economic importance is called bioprospecting. Option 4. Then which of the following is an in situ conservation method? Option 4, secured grooves is the correct answer. Then fourth question, since the origin and diversification of life on Earth, there have been 5 episodes of mass extinction of species. How is the 6th extinction, which is in progress, different from the previous episodes in கேட்டிருக்காங்க? So option 4, the present species extinction rates are 100 to 1000 times faster than in the pre-human times is the correct answer. Then fifth question, the evil quartet of biodiversity loss includes which of the following? So habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation, alien species invasions and co-extinctions. So option 1 is the correct answer. So உங்களுக்கு யூனிட் 10 எக்காலஜில இருந்து டோட்டலி 11 கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்டிருக்காங்க. ஸோ இந்த யூனிட் நல்லா பார்த்துக்கோங்க. ஸோ இந்த வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னா லைக் பண்ணுங்க, கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்க. அண்ட் இதே மாதிரி கிளாஸ் 11 பயாலஜிக்கும் உங்களுக்கு சாப்டர் வைஸ் வேணும் அப்படின்னா கமெண்ட்ல சொல்லுங்க. நான் நெக்ஸ்ட் வீடியோல போஸ்ட் பண்றேன். அண்ட் இந்த வீடியோ யாருக்காச்சும் யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சீங்கன்னா அவங்களுக்கு ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க. தேங்க்யூ.